Hey, I'm Harper Finn. I'm a musician based in Auckland.
I can pretend to be the friend, go along with your trend, making moves in the dark.
I'm a solo musician. I write and produce, most of my own stuff. I play all the instruments on my music, and yeah, I guess I'm someone who tends to skew to a more kind of alternative pop, electronic scene music-wise. But I'm a piano player at heart, so a lot of my music is based around that kind of more classic, traditional songwriting style. So all the songs I've written, I can play on the piano, perform them on the piano. So it's very much that kind of music. Well, it's where it comes from, at least. Yeah. The song I wanted to talk about today was "Conversations with the Moon," and I chose this song sort of because it's one of the first songs I ever felt like, wow, this is a really good song. I've written something really great here. I wrote the song by myself, recorded all the instruments by myself, produced it by myself. So it was sort of, it took a long time to get it finished, but it definitely feels like, that's me completely when it comes to the lyric, the melodies, the production sounds. It's sort of me. Everything you need to understand about me musically, you can kind of hear in that song. And it's in a way is one of my most, if not my most important song, in my opinion, to myself. Yeah.
'Cause you know who's howling out for you, and you know.
My normal writing process is you'll almost always start at the piano. I mean, every day I'm on the piano just playing, just with no real purpose or intention. It's just sort of, it's basically me just going, this is how I feel today, and it will come out musically. So, if I'm feeling down, I'm feeling happy, it'll come across on the piano. And so, if I start playing something that I like, or it feels like how I'm feeling, I'll try and sing a melody over that, and perhaps the melody sounds like a phrase, or I already have a phrase that's kind of floating around my head. But it's sort of, it's quite a meditative kind of state to be in, where you're just very, you're trying, but you're not trying too hard, I think. Recording, I just do it on my phone a lot of the time. I just get my phone up, put it on the top of the piano, and just sort of sing something. I mean, I'd be very embarrassed to show that, because it's like, if you heard that, you'd be like, you can't play or sing. Because it's like, often you're just like rushing to get the idea down, or if I'm asleep, I'll just sing something really terribly, but just so the idea is there.
Where you going? I want in. I bet you know who I am. I bet you know who I am.
Yeah, definitely the musicality, I think, just sort of, a lot of it stems from the chord progression in the chorus. I think if people kind of listen to my music, you can kind of draw some links between there's like that darkness and that kind of really, I've heard it being called a lot of things, gothic is one of the words, but there's in the chorus is that kind of chord progression, which is playing a minor note over a major chord, and it's like a discord. So it's technically the wrong thing to play. Like, it'd be it goes against what we know as music. Playing a minor note over a major chord, that's like, do not do that. But for me, when I heard it, it just kind of it accessed a point inside me that I was like, that music hadn't done before. And I think for me, because I've grown up with music is a crucial part of my life and who I am as a person. And when I heard that chord progression, I heard that kind of how it made me feel. It was this feeling I'd never felt before, and it was like, wow, music. There's still more to be discovered. There's still more parts of myself that I can discover through music. And so when I hear that chord progression now, it still makes me feel like how I felt the first time I heard it, in terms of it sounding like nothing I'd ever heard. The song stemmed out of those chords, definitely. I remember being at a sound check for a band I was in, and often sound check, you're just mucking about, kind of what I was saying before about how you just sort of just play with no real intention. And I was just playing these chords, holding them on this kind of synthesizer pad, and it was like, whoa, this sounds intense, but I really, really like it. And I sort of just kept it in the back of my mind. And then, after a few days, went to the piano and sat down and just really started to plonk away at it, came up with some melodies, and then phrases sort of came out. So it came out. Songs like that don't happen often, where they sort of just come out of you without you really thinking about them too hard. Like, I think, but when that happens, it's going to be a good song, because there's some sort of like I don't know, there's some higher power, there's something else at play that's sort of feeding you this song, and you're the mouthpiece for it, and you just sort of just put the pen to the page and just write them down. But yeah, that was a song that all the music came first before the lyrics, and I just, I had that piece of music for a while before I even thought about writing lyrics for it. So the lyrics came, I guess, like I sort of said, I had the music for a while. I had some melody. I'm in preparation for this. I was sort of going back through some of my old demos of the song, and I heard like one of the first ones I ever made, and I just had I just had that, like some ghostly melody, and I was like, there was the idea of a dog howling. It was all a very visual kind of imprint in my mind, and I think the song was, to me, I always wanted it to be a very visual story, and a story that was, about being alone and only having the moon as your company. I reference John Lennon. He made a famous quote once. He said, tell the truth and make it rhyme. And so often, a lot of the time, you're just looking for that rhyme. When I'm writing songs, I might have Rhyme Zone open or something like that, and you just kind of have that to the side. So you write, you come up with what's your opening line? How are you going to start the story? I quite like a song to kind of throw you into the deep end straight away. Like you're in the middle of something. I don't like to sort of build it up. I like it to be straight in. Something's already happened. You're right in the middle of the action. So I can pretend to be the friend, go along with your trend, and making moves in the dark. So yeah, the pre-chorus, especially in Conversation with the Moon, was all about creating a lot of tension. It's almost like going up an escalator, and when it arrives to the top, you want the chorus to really pay off big. So a lot of the time, the pre-chorus is just trying to make that chorus sound even better. It's like when you get to the pre-chorus, people are like, oh, just get me to the chorus, get me to the chorus. Like, it's like feeling of just almost impatience, but you want it to feel really exciting, and like what's to come. Like, there's all this anticipation because it's seconds away from launching off into the chorus. So I think for this song, production-wise, just before you get to the chorus, everything fades out, and we have a woo kind of vocal melody there, and it sort of all drops away, and there's almost like this second of pure silence. And you bang, and it comes in. So it's like this big, real, like, hit you in the face kind of thing. Like, I wanted that song to really slam and really kind of be quite, like, almost like a punch in the face, but like in a really dark, cool, energetic, funky kind of way.
Cause who's howling out for you, and it's conversations with the moon,
It took a while to record the song because it went through many stages, and because I did it basically all myself, it was, that took a long time. It was in a way, recording the song was how I learned how to use Ableton and music recording software. Like, it was sort of through my limitations and my understanding of the program, that sort of informed how the sound of the song, because I wasn't super proficient on those programs, so just by my limitations, I sort of was forced into doing things and making decisions that ended up being key to how the song sounded. So I've got like an analog synth, a Nord, and it's called like a Nord lead analog, and just started with that, recorded pretty much the whole song synth-wise, and then just sort of added more layers onto it. Like I said, the drum sample, added the live drums, and then vocals were the last thing I recorded. And I had a friend of mine help me set up the mic, because I'm not great in setting up mics. So I had a friend set up the mic, just did vocals with him. He sort of just clicked record, helped me engineer the session. And then after that, sort of sat with the track for a while, lived with it as it was. Sounded very different to how it sounded now. But it was sort of, had all the pieces sort of me just sort of adding to it, and again, not knowing how to use Ableton, so sort of doing things for the first time. So yeah, I think one of the really important things to talk about the song is the mix, because I think mixers sometimes don't get enough credit as they should for the overall sound for a song, especially when producers, their names on the credits. The mixer is the one that really is getting that song across the line, is giving it that sheen, is giving it that world that the song exists in. And so a friend of mine who I'd worked before, his name was Tony Buchan, came in and mixed the song, and it really it just took it to this other level, which I didn't even know the song was possible of getting to. It was, he recorded a little bit of live bass at the end. He did, he just made the vocals really pop out and really shine and have this kind of, and just sound really intense. And he just, made the drums hit really, really hard. And it was just, I can remember the experience of getting his mix and getting into the car and just sort of, it was almost like a tear-inducing moment, because when you can't imagine your song sounding any better or getting it to a level that you didn't even know it could go to, it's quite an emotional experience, because it's like, I don't know, he's helped you express the song in a way you didn't know you could, perhaps. So like the releasing of the song was, I'd finished the song completely in its entirety and had this song, and it was around the time I had sort of been approached by some labels. I was just seeing what was possible with them in terms of releasing the song, because I'd released a couple songs before that independently, using DistroKid, just doing what all independent artists can do and in terms of how they get their music out there. I was very fortunate to be able to sign with Warner Music and have that song released by them. So it was, it was a very amazing time to be able to have that song and to have the backing of a record label. Like for me, it was sort of a dream come true, and I was, and to have that song as the first song out, it just felt like I was, over the moon, if you pardon the pun. But it was, it was nice to have them kind of handle a lot of the publicity, handle a lot of the pitching to the DSPs. Because I'd done that before and I was happy to do it, but when you've got other people doing it, you can just put more focus on the music, on the songwriting, and that's what I'm here to do, is to write and make music. I think now, yeah, giving it some time, it's sort of, I kind of touched on earlier as well, like it's still a song that I think, I want people to discover that song. Like I hope the music I continue to put out will lead people back to that song, because I think that song for me really does encapsulate who I am as a musician, the sounds that I want to put out into the world, the lyrics I want to put out into the world, like that really, and the video as well. Like I can't forget to mention the video. Like I think that is the world that I live in, and I might venture off into other sounds and other worlds, but that is still a very important part of who I am musically, and I want, if people want to understand who I am, that's sort of, I often will say that's a song that will always sort of ring true. Maybe in 10 years I'll feel differently, but I think that's who I am now is always going to be reflected in that song.